We are going to use April 2025, which is the newest information we have for mental health, tinnitus, and sleep apnea as the baseline so we can answer your question of, are you safe, yes or no? It's a bit more nuanced than that. And it's more than being safe, because some will want to know what happens if my intent to file is prior to April 2025. What happens? What happens to if I'm on a BDD claim? What happens if I want to use the new criteria for an increase? What happens if I'm 100% P&T? So if any of those are you, those questions are going to be answered right now. First off, are you safe? If you're rated for any of those, the changes happens. Are you safe? The answer is yes. It doesn't get more simple than that. The answer is yes. Do not take my word for it. I'm going to show you 38 CFR 3.951. Okay, right here, alpha. A readjustment to the schedule for rating disability, so the SRD, shall not, everyone say this with me, where if you're in your car, your room, whatever, shall not be infringed. No, I'm kidding. Shall not be grounds for reduction of a disability rating in effect on the date of the readjustment, unless medical evidence establishes that the disability to be evaluated has actually improved. So this is normal. That last part there is normal. Shall not be grounds for reduction. Are you safe? Yes. You're safe. Period. You're safe. That's it. Okay? Don't think more into it. If I'm 100% P&T, am I safe? I got two things for you. Two things for you if you're 100% P&T. One, stop watching YouTube videos about reductions. Okay? That's number one. Two, yes, you're safe. Period, point blank. Don't say to someone, well, you're not actually safe till you hit 20. Listen. You're safe. If you're 100% P&T, take care of yourself. Enjoy your life as best as you can. I know it's hard. Seek healthcare. You are safe. That's it. There's nothing more to it. Okay, now for all the other questions, let's start with BDD claims. If you get out and you're submitting a BDD claim, and let's just say the effective date for the changes is April 1st. We'll use April 1st, 2025. Whatever date you get out of service is your intent to file. It's not before, it's not 6 months prior, it's not 90 days prior. It's the day you leave service without terminal. The VA does not care about your terminal leave. It's the day you leave service. You either leave prior to or after, right? Or on the effective date. So April 1st or after or prior to. That's it. And that's really going to fall into the next one, but I'll answer that. That's not, like, you can't control that date, okay? You can't get out sooner unless there are some very niche programs where you can actually change your ETS or EAS date. That's not gonna matter to the overwhelming majority. So if that date's after it, I'm saying you can't control it, so it doesn't matter. What matters to you is getting your evidence, understanding how the VA is going to rate that condition, and then preparing for that CMP exam. That's it. So that's my advice to you. Now, this one is kind of for those BDD claims, and it's more nuanced. What if your intent to file is prior to the change, but you submit your claim after the change, right? So your intent to file is January, the change happens, you submit that claim afterwards. What does that look like? What does it look like? And this answer is going to blow your mind, okay? The VA, when ratings change and the veteran falls between both criterias, old and new, the VA must award you with the highest rating of the two. This is great news, okay? So in reality, you are in the best spot you can possibly be. Now, there are some issues here, and I have some word on very high authority of who I am not allowed to mention because they told me not to, and I will respect that relationship, that most raters do not understand this rule. So they will only rate you off of the new criteria, which is just, it puts more importance. It's extremely important for you to understand this rule, for you to understand your symptoms, and for you to understand where you would fall at between the old criteria and the new criteria. Because if you don't know, then you're at the whim of the VA. If you do know, a simple higher level review would correct it. I hate giving that answer, but that's the purpose of the HLR, is to correct mistakes. And lastly, if you want to take advantage of the changes, so you're rated at 50% for mental health, you think the new criteria you would fall in 70, all you have to do is submit an increase after the changes are final. Now keep in mind, once you hit submit, you are going to fall under the new criteria, okay? That's going to happen. Overall, people have their opinions about which is favorable and which are not, but that, I'm telling you, it does not matter. Their opinions, my opinion, does not matter on what's favorable and what's not. The only thing that does matter is you and your symptoms. Your symptoms have nothing to do with anyone else. So I would not take anyone else's advice on whether or not you should submit the increase or not. You really need to understand the new criteria and the old criteria and figure out which is the right play for you. We saw that exact same thing happen for GERD and IBS. Those who were rated for both GERD and IBS probably was going to be advantageous to split those ratings. Although they would have decreased GERD, they could have increased IBS for an overall increased rating, right? That's one example. Another example is those who are rated only for GERD, probably most cases not advantageous because they would fall under esophageal stricture, and that would most likely be a lower rating, assuming they don't have the symptoms under esophageal stricture. And it just depends. So yes, GERD IBS was favorable for some. Yes, GERD IBS was not favorable for some. And you can get opinions on that from everyone. The only thing that matters is you and your symptoms, to put it straight, okay? Food for thought, you are your best advocate. Now, the changes, they're going to change, okay? That's going to happen. I think that April 2025 is a solid indicator that no one's forgotten about this, okay? They're going to happen. It's after election year. It's spring, summer. I've always said that the changes are going to come on summer. This does not change the criteria to be service connected. So if you're not rated for these conditions, all this stuff is based on how the VA awards that condition. The criteria for service connection still remains the same. That's the big three, right? The in-service event, which means evidence from service. You got to have evidence from service. It's not optional. You have to have evidence from service. The current diagnosis, again, not optional. You must have a current diagnosis. Yes, you can submit your claim with documented symptoms. I wouldn't recommend that in most cases. You need the current diagnosis and the Nexus, where the evidence from service and the current diagnosis becomes the foundation for that claim. And there you go. That's all your answers. I'm going to be copy pasting this link to everyone who asked me these questions all day, every day. And thank you very much.